The transition will require no less than $3 trillion in new capital from many sources each year between now and 2050.
Nope.
That was the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen talking about how the government will save the planet if you just give them more money. The U.S. national debt is over $35 trillion at this point. That equates to around $103,000 per citizen and over $260,000 per taxpayer. The interest on the debt, which is probably the most important part of this equation, is over $907 billion. From those numbers alone, it's clear that we have major issues, but I suppose if you think that is a financially functional way to run a government, then you probably also believe that Joe Biden received 81 million votes in 2020. Despite the debt, politicians continue to promote new spending and/or increasing so-called revenue, aka taxes, that are confiscated from the population. Janet Yellen, who is supposed to be overseeing the financial strength of the economy and also well known for being a paid liar about inflation, is now saying that for only $3 trillion per year we can stop so-called climate change, which is especially on brand coming from someone who so easily makes propaganda comments like this.
What's your advice then to the employers who say they are having difficulty hiring workers? One suggestion has been made to perhaps raise wages, but if businesses have to compete with plussed-up unemployment benefits, won't that result in an increase in consumer prices and touch off an inflationary cycle that so many experts have been worried about?
Well, I really doubt that we're going to see an inflationary cycle, although I will say that all the economists in the administration are watching that very closely. As my colleagues have said, the CEA put out a blog post on this. We expect somewhat higher inflation over the next several months for a variety of essentially technical reasons because of something called base effects that in year-over-year comparisons right now, the months in which prices fell the most are moving out of the average, and that leaves us with the months in which they were rebounding toward more normal levels. But that's a transitory thing, not something that's associated with a buildup in wage pressures.
In 2021, though, you did say that inflation was transitory. Do you regret saying that now?
I regret saying it was transitory.
This is often the cycle that happens with propaganda narratives. Someone claims something is going to happen or is currently happening, then the media and the political class dismiss the claim. Then after the original claim is proven to be correct, they backtrack or outright lie about their previous statements. Back to her comments about the trillions of dollars that need to be confiscated in order to change the weather, she said that $3 trillion will be needed per year from now until the year 2050. For the record, I believe she is talking about a worldwide number, but nonetheless, that is $78 trillion. If we weren't in Clown World, I would think this was some sort of a comedy skit, but we are, so this is a real government official saying it's just $78 trillion until 2050, no big deal. Here's a longer version of her comment.
Being so close to the magnificent Amazon is also a reminder that the transition to a lower carbon global economy is also the single greatest opportunity of the 21st century. The transition will require no less than $3 trillion in new capital from many sources each year between now and 2050.
So there you have it. For only $78 trillion over the next couple of decades, we can save the planet from the latest boogeyman. Unfortunately, it's not just Janet Yellen we have to deal with. Her husband is also a political economist who claims that higher taxes and more government spending is actually a good thing for the economy.
Maybe call this the weaponization of economic reports. If you missed it, this week, 16 Nobel Prize-winning economists are warning voters about the risks of a second Trump presidency. The group, which is led by Joseph Stiglitz and George Akerlof, who also happens to be Janet Yellen's husband,
it's just a coincidence,
writes in part, quote, while each of us has different views on the particulars of various economic policies, we all agree that Joe Biden's economic agenda is vastly superior to Donald Trump.
We take pride in the credibility of the forecasts that we make.
In 2021, though, you did say that inflation was transitory. Do you regret saying that now?
I regret saying it was transitory.